Hey everybody, good morning, or good afternoon, good evening, good night, whenever you're watching this video. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for coming back and watching another video of mine. I know it has been one hot minute since I have uploaded a video here on this channel. And we're gonna talk about why. So I just thought I'd pop on the camera here and get ready. Today is Sunday, and I'm getting ready for the day. And so I just thought, hey, let's put on some makeup and turn on the camera. You will notice that I'm in a different setting today. I am coming at you live from my bathroom. The room that I normally film in is just an absolute atrocious mess. It's got it's like Christmas exploded in there. I've got like Christmas gifts. It's just become like the catch-all room lately. So I didn't want to waste time trying to clean that room and put myself behind today in terms of where I need to be and what I'm doing. So I just thought, hey, just film live from the bathroom and you'll be good to go. I'm gonna zoom out just a little bit because I felt like I was like really close. So anyway, I've got my makeup here on the counter and we're just gonna pop on some makeup and get going. And before you forget and before I forget, if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to like the video if you find this video entertaining or useful or helpful. And don't forget to turn on the notification bell, so every time I upload, you'll get notified, okay? So anyway, let's just go ahead and dive on in. I've already got my skin prepped, and ooh, this feels a little dry. I'm just gonna pop on a little bit of moisturizer. That guy feels a little dry. The two foundations I'm working with today are the Charlotte Tilbury Airbrush Flawless Foundation and this Makeup Forever HD Skin. I like to kind of mix these two. So we'll pop those in and get them on the skin. Boop. Okay. Okay, so we got that on. We're just gonna go ahead and blend this sucker out. And I've got a damp sponge here from e.l.f. that I'm just using to work it into the skin. So I was thinking when I was, planning out my morning, I was like, oh my gosh, when's the last time I filmed? And I think the last time I filmed was like in the spring, summertime, you guys. It's been a really, really long time. And I would just first want to apologize because I know you guys subscribe to this channel looking for content from me, and life has just been crazy in some good and bad ways. I don't even know really where to begin. So I guess I'll just kind of start with just a general life update. So this year, 2022, has had its challenges. I'll just say it that way. And without going into like detail, right? Because we would be here forever and a day when I'm talking about all the challenges that I've faced this year. There was some work challenges that I faced. There was some family challenges that I faced. There was some personal, just in my own personal life, challenges. And so this year's just been very like, oh my gosh, in some ways it felt like it was the worst year of my life, just like everything that I had been kind of going through. And I'm like, this year just sucks. Like, I'll just say it that way. It just sucks. It's terrible. Sorry, there's like a hair on my face and I can feel it. Gosh, don't you hate that when you like feel like a minuscule hair and you can't find it? I think I got it. So I was just like, really struggling. And it kind of started, the challenges that I was facing earlier in the year. And so it was just really, really challenging, right? And so I was really struggling. And for me, when I don't feel like my best, I don't feel like filming. And I can get that, right? And I'm not like a big YouTuber, but I've just heard other YouTubers say, like, if you just don't feel on, you just don't want to do it. And I will say this isn't my job. I have a normal 9-to-5 job, which most of you guys know. I work in HR. So for me, it's like, If I'm not feeling it, I don't want to film. But there are some days where I'm like, I feel like I need to film because it'll put me in a better mood. And I think it would temporarily, but it wouldn't really put me in a good mood long term. So thank God I have been going to therapy, and I'm still in therapy, to really be able to work through those feelings. Because I think before, if I had faced a challenge, like I would go into two modes. Either I'd be really, really anxious and have panic attacks, and be really closed off and reclusive, or I would go into a depressive state, which I talked about, like the reclusive. I just don't want to do anything, don't want to see anybody, just become very, turn very inward. And I knew like those two mechanisms weren't very healthy. And a lot of that just came from like childhood trauma and like just how I dealt with issues like as a kid. And those were the two things I used as coping mechanisms. Either just like you get really anxious about it, or you just become very inward and very reclusive. And so I knew like, hey, those are not healthy coping mechanisms. So thank God I was in therapy when this year just kind of turned into a shit show for me, if I'm going to be completely honest. So thank God for my therapist, Christina. She's amazing. And I had a really great opportunity to learn how to be vulnerable with strangers, how to really seek help from other people, because I'm the type of person where I don't ask for help. I kind of like to be independent in that way. So it really taught me like, hey, there's people in your life that want to help you and support you and love you. And she really taught me that. And I thank God for her every single day, because she's an amazing therapist and I still see her. So she just got me through some really tough times this year. And, you know, obviously the grace of God too got me through some really tough things. But, you know, one of the things that I am willing to share about a challenge was my job. My job, at FedEx was very, very stressful. There was just some challenges with like staffing and the constant pressure to find people to work there. And a lot of it was indicative, like that was tied to like my performance there. And so there's just this constant pressure of like, if you can't find a certain amount of people every week to work there, like that could ultimately like reflect on my year-end evaluation. So no matter what I did, no matter how hard I worked, if I didn't meet certain goals, I just, you know, it would impact my raise or like my performance review and like my career ultimately. Now, thankfully, I was a top performer there. My boss made that very known to me very early on, so I didn't have any issues with that. But one of the things that became a challenge for me is any like upward mobility. And before I go further with that, I just wanted to kind of explain to you guys what I use. So I use this concealer from Huda Beauty. It's their Flawless filter. It's great for if you have dark circles or dark under eyes. And then I set it with this Charlotte Tilbury powder, Airbrush Flawless Finish in shade 2 medium. And then just like this Real Techniques brush. Okay, so upward mobility. So that was a challenge for me in that I had applied for a promotion in July. Was it July? Sorry, I'm just trying to think here. It was like the end of June, beginning of July, like June, July time frame. The time is fuzzy. I had applied for a position there and it would have been a promotional position, and I met the qualifications and everything, and I interviewed there, and ultimately I didn't get the position, and I was so close to getting it, you guys. Like it still irks me to this day, like how close I was to getting that job. And I really, really wanted that promotion because my current level position, it was very, very stressful. Like I was talking about before, there was a lot of pressure to meet certain numbers. There was a lot of pressure just to do everything like the precise right way that it needed to be done. And again, that wasn't a problem because again, my boss had made it known I was a high performer and I was like one of her best people on the team. But there's just a lot of stress that comes with that. And there's a lot of stress when you have other people looking up to you as like the model. And I will say, like, I'm not saying this to like brag about myself or brag about like how amazing I was. I'm talking about it in terms of challenges, right? Like it's very challenging to have all of that weight and pressure on your shoulders day in and day out, to where just the nature of the job too, like I had to work weekends sometimes, and there was kind of a silent expectation to always be available, when you have a work phone, if you know, it's just like, if I call or text, you need to answer, you know, or, hey, I sent you an email Sunday night, why didn't you respond? It's like, I don't work Sundays. You know, so just stuff like that where it's just like, okay, like I'm starting to really understand like this job doesn't have a lot of work-life balance. And I think that really was like the pinnacle point for me when I did not get that promotion, because I thought, okay, I could at least hang around in this company, because overall the company, it's great. Like they offer great benefits. Like they have a lot of great core values as a part of, you know, the company. So I was like, okay, it's not bad. But you know, if I get this promotion, then at least I can do something different and I'm not just doing the same old thing every day. I'm not so stressed out. Like it would just give me like a restart. I'm starting to pick up like, okay, this job is not kind of what I thought I wanted it to be. So I didn't get the position, and that really was hard on me. That was very, very difficult time. And I really, really wanted that position. So now I'm in a place where I feel like I'm stuck, and I'm like, oh gosh, I'm stuck. You know, I'm not getting where I want to be. Basically, like, I'm stuck here. And so that really caused me to have some depressive like symptoms where I'm like, man, I'm just never gonna get out of this place. So I was really struggling with that. Like I said, there are some things going on in my family that were very stressful. But you know, thank God for, you know, supportive family members that were really there for me. My husband especially was there for me, my sister-in-law, my brother, like we all just kind of banded together and rode the storm essentially. And things are okay now, but it was a very stressful time in the midst of me trying to get this promotion. So it's like, I've got a lot of stress in my family because there's like family shit going on. And then there's my job that's like really crappy. And so it's like my world, I felt like was like caving in a lot of ways. So that's why I said earlier, thank God for my therapist, because she was really like, hey, like you're in control of some of these things, right? You can't control what's going on in your family, but you can control like your personal sphere. And so that's what really caused me to then start thinking about getting another job. I really loved the people that I work with, and I'm still in contact with a lot of them, but the job itself was just so like, I knew I couldn't sustain that long term, especially knowing that I was like, okay, I can't get promoted. Like it was also tough for me too. Like, I feel like I'm jumping ahead, but I felt like it was really tough on me too, because when I didn't get that promotion, it really reminded me of another darker period in my life where I was in a company before FedEx where I just didn't feel like I was being treated right. And that's a whole other conversation and video, I feel like. But that was a situation where I was like, I know like they're not going to promote me. They see me as less than, and I just need to get out of here. And so I spent like almost a year trying to get out of that job before I found FedEx. And so when I didn't get that promotion at FedEx, it kind of reminded me of that time where I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm drowning. I can't get out of here. Like it kind of, you know, that's when I noticed like, okay, I'm starting to revert to this anxious, depressive symptoms, and I don't want to go back there. So, you know, kind of working through that. So then I just decided, hey, like I really need to find another job. Like can't be going on like this. So, and if I'm not looking here, I'm just kind of looking in my mirror here, just doing stuff. So before I keep going on, the blush that I just used was from Rare Beauty. And then I'm just setting it with this Maybelline Fit Me. And this is in the color Wine, I believe. Yep, Wine. So anyway, so I'm like, okay, I need to find another job. Like just, okay, God, I get it. I need to find another job. So I kind of started going on a couple of interviews, nothing super serious. And so I was just kind of like, okay, well, if something opens up, opens up, but I'm not really going to put myself out there too much. And because I was like, well, and this was kind of around the time where I was like, okay, like we're gearing up for busy season, which for FedEx is like around Thanksgiving to the end of the year. So I was like, well, it's August time frame now. Like if I want to find a job, I need to find something like no later than like October, because then I would feel bad leaving them in a lurch without an HR contact. I want to, you know, put them in a tough position. So, you know, July June, July passes, I don't get the promotion. August comes, September comes, I'm kind of putting my feelers out there. And then like around September-ish time frame, again, it's kind of fuzzy, late September, early October, a friend of mine that I used to work with at FedEx reached out to me. And she's like, hey, my company that I work for now is looking for an HR manager. Would you be interested in the position? And I'm kind of thinking, okay, I mean, maybe, tell me more. And so she's telling me about this job, and I'm like, wow, it sounds like it's a pretty sweet gig. And so she knew, the challenges of working for, FedEx before. And so I just asked her some really point blank questions about like, hey, this is how it used to be at FedEx. Is it like this at this other company? And she'd be like, no, like they just operate totally differently. She's like, I'm really happy here, and I think you would be happy too. So I'm like, okay, I don't want to put too much hope and stock into this. I'm using the Anastasia Brow Wiz. And so I was like, okay, that's fine. So I just kind of started talking to the, the vice president of HR there, and just kind of, starting to go through the interview process. And, it just like, I felt such peace, if that makes any sense. Like, I just felt like it was the easiest, most chill interview process I had ever been a part of. Like, it just seemed so simple. And I mean, simple's not even the right word to describe it. Like, it just felt right. So I was really starting to really like this company and really like, thinking, hey, like I could get this job. But again, I didn't want to get my hopes up because again, I had just gotten burned and didn't get a promotion. So I'm like, okay, well, Sam, don't get your hopes up, because remember what happened over the summer. Like, you thought you had this thing in the bag and you didn't get it. So don't do that, girl. So a little bit of self-protection, right? And so I'm going through this process and, interviewing people, interviewing with certain people and just meeting all these people that work with the company. And I'm like, man, this would be such a great company to work for. Like, I really hope I get this job. So, I don't tell anybody at FedEx that I'm interviewing because again, I don't really know if I'm gonna get it, right? So, oops. So, there's a little bit of self-protection on that end too, where I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything because I don't know if I'm gonna get it, and if I don't get it, I'm gonna look like a complete idiot. So, so I didn't get, I didn't want to say anything too much before I really knew like I was in the final running. So I interview, like do the formal interview process, talk to everybody, blah, 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 blah. And then I found out I got the job. So that was like oh, praise God, like, thank you, Jesus. And looking back on it now, it was like God was probably protecting me for something in that position that I thought I really wanted at FedEx. But I am a true believer of God's in control of my life. And so he was protecting me from something. I don't know what it was. I don't know what it is, but he opened the door for this opportunity for now for me to be an HR manager. And I work for a company called CBiz. They're a financial and accounting firm. They've got 2 offices here in Kansas City, but they're a nationwide, actually technically international accounting firm. So I found out I got the job, super excited, and then they wanted me to start in 2 weeks. And I was like, holy moly, like, that's really quick, because nobody knows at FedEx that I'm interviewing, let alone got another job. And like, I gotta make some really quick decisions. So, me and my husband talked about it, and I was like, what do you think? And he's just like, I think you should do it. And deep down, I always kind of thought I needed to do it, but you just want confirmation from your spouse. You want to make sure you and your spouse are on the same page. And he's like, I think you should do it. So I was like, yeah, I think you're right. I think I should do it too. So I got the offer, I think it was like a Wednesday or a Thursday. No, I got the offer on a Wednesday. I remember that. And I remember having to tell the recruiter at CBiz, I was like, hey, I need to talk to some people, figure out if like a 2-week notice is even sufficient, because I was responsible for a lot of things there. And I was like, they may want me to give like a 3-4 week notice. Like, is that okay? And the recruiter was like, that's totally fine. Just let us know by like Friday, like what type of notice you need to give. And I was like, yep, I can totally do that. So Wednesday, got the offer, thought about it on Thursday, and then Friday, I had to call my boss. And gosh, I just remember so vividly, I was on the phone with her and I could just totally tell I blindsided her. And I felt honestly very bad about it. I was just like, man, like, she relies on me for a lot of things. And now like I'm leaving her. But at the same time, I can't feel guilty about that, because this is an opportunity for me to grow and explore and build my career more. And she'll find another person. Obviously not anybody like me, but she'll find someone else, right? So I kind of had to have that reconciliation in my mind. So I could tell I disappointed her, and she's like, oh my gosh, when are you leaving? And I was like, I mean, they want me to start on Halloween, so can my last day be that Friday before? And she's like, yeah, that's fine. So we had worked through all of that, and so now it's the stress of having to tell my new job that I'm starting in like 2 weeks, having to wrap up all the stuff that I was doing, right, in a 2-week like 2-week time frame, and like have to just kind of get myself ready for this new job. So October became a very busy month for me. Before I get into my eyes, I am using this Vizio palette. It is their Petite Pro, and I don't know what the name is, but this is what it looks like. It's just kind of these colors here. And I'm gonna dip into this like light peach color and then like this deeper brown to kind of put that in my transition. So that was kind of like a, yay, I'm getting out, but holy crap, I got a lot of work to do. Like, I got a lot of shit I gotta get done. So working through that process, right, was interesting, but you know, it really, when I was telling people that I was leaving, I mean, I had people cry, I had people be like, oh my gosh, you're leaving. And so it really like God used that to like really show like you made an impact there, because I was just drowning in so much crap, you know, guys, just like workload wise, that I was just like, man, if I left, nobody would give 2 rat butts, right, about it. Like, they wouldn't care. And some people kind of did act like that. I'm not gonna be completely lying on here. Some people did act like, oh, okay, you're leaving, well, bye. Like, they didn't really care. But there were some people that were like, oh my gosh, you're really leaving. Well, oh my gosh, like, I'm gonna really miss you. And like, and it sort of just really showed that I made an impact there when I didn't think I did. And so I was like, okay, it's just kind of a reminder of like, God puts you in places, and just be yourself and walk like in his purposes, and like you will impact lives. I didn't think I mattered much to anybody. I mean, I made a few friends there, but I didn't think like anyone would be really like upset that I was leaving. And so it just kind of showed like I made a bigger impact than I realized. So that was encouraging. And so I left, and then now I'm at CBiz, and honestly, it is such a great position now. I mean, I've been there a little bit over a month, almost 2 months. And so like, it's been really nice just to like have work-life balance again and not feel like just so much stress in my body. Like, my body feels lighter, like my mood is better. Like, I want to go do things and have fun and be social again. And like I just feel like a brand new person. I feel so much better. I mean, that's just the best way to describe it. And you know, yeah, that's just the best way to describe it. And the best thing about that too is I celebrated my birthday like a week after I got that job. So it was like, new job and it's your birthday. And honestly too, like, I turned 37 this year. This was like one of the best birthdays I had ever had. And it was like, and I shared this with some folks, but it was like this year was just so atrocious for me in so many ways. Like, I was kind of talking about, like, it was just very difficult in some ways, but like there was just little moments like me getting this new job where God's like, I got you, like, don't worry about stuff, like, I've got you, like, you're good. You know, like, like, you're doing good. Like, you're on the right path. And like, I've got your back. And so that was just like such a great birthday. And the family drama settled. So I guess all that to say is, like, in the midst of all of that, I just didn't feel like filming. But I think now that I've got this like renewed sense of like fun and energy and lightness, like, I want to start filming again. I want to do more fun things like that again. When I first started this channel, and you know, it's that sense of like, what's the possibilities out there. Now, I will be honest, I'm probably not going to be like a consistent uploader just because I do work a full-time job. And most of y'all know that, so it's not like you're going to expect me to be like a full-time YouTuber. I get it. But there is going to be a lot more content than I'm normally used to filming. Just checking my eye shape here, y'all. Sorry. So, you know, you're definitely going to see more of that from me, and just an overall sense of probably a little bit more consistency. Okay, we're going to do some eyeliner and then mascara, and I'm going to keep talking. So we just gonna keep rolling with the punches here. Two things I think are important. If you have any takeaway from this video is, number one, therapy is healthy, therapy is normal, and you should not feel ashamed for seeking help for your mental health. And I think, especially in Christian circles, certain Christian circles, like evangelicals, like, therapy is looked poorly upon because it's like, you don't trust God. You don't trust that he can heal you from things. And don't get me wrong, I definitely believe God can heal people. But I think there's also where it's like God trains people to be his hands and his feet to help heal. And that's how I feel about therapy. Yes, God can do a miraculous work and heal you from any ailment and disease that he wants. I mean, he's God. He can do whatever the heck he wants. But I think there is a sense of vulnerability and a sense of leaning on God when you seek others in your community to help you. And my community is also my therapist, and I feel like I have a renewed sense of connecting to God as well, a renewed sense of my spirituality because I'm in a healthier mental place. Like, I really wanted to say that is that therapy, I believe, in my opinion, is God's hands and feet on the earth, doing his will and his purposes, if you find a good one. And I found a good one. And then second thing is, like, just don't give up hope. You know, whether you were in a really dark place like me, where you just kind of were like, I'm in this hellhole, like, nobody's here, like, where is God even here? Like, come on, bro, like, where are you at? Like, just don't give up hope. Seek out help. If you need a professional therapist, please do that. If it's you just going to your local community, whatever that looks like, you know, whatever you need to do to, in a healthy way, I'll caveat that, in a healthy way, get through your stuff, because we've all got trauma, we all have wounds, we all have things that we need to heal from, and it's our responsibility to do that. And the more we heal, the more we're a whole person, the more we can get back to the world. It's that classic saying, like, you can't help others until you help yourself. Or, you know, the analogy everybody uses is like, you know, on an airplane when it's an emergency, they tell you to put your own oxygen mask on before you can put someone else's oxygen mask on and help them. It's the same idea. You can't give from an empty cup. So if you can take the time to provide yourself that self-care, that self-love, that healing, do it, right? And don't be afraid to do it in ways that are helpful to you that maybe other people don't agree with. I'll just leave it there, because at the end of the day, you cannot control what other people think about you, how other people feel about you. As long as you know you're in the will of God and you're living your truth, that's all that matters. And there's going to be people out there that don't like what you're doing. So that's another lesson I've had to learn this year, is that you got to be honest and transparent with yourself. And there's gonna be people out there that just don't like it. And you can't do anything about that. You can't do one thing about that. And sorry, I'm just gonna clean myself up here. That's something that you have to learn, especially from someone like myself who used to be a huge people pleaser. And one of the things that I learned from my therapist and through therapy is that people pleasing, if you've always been used to and conditioned to people pleasing, is that then that teaches you and teaches others how to treat yourself, and how they treat you. And most of the time, there's no boundaries in a relationship. And if there's no boundaries, then anything goes, right? And I think everyone to a certain point has boundaries. So take care of yourself so that you can take care of the people around you. And taking care of yourself, like I said, may look different for everybody. So don't let anybody judge you and say, oh, that's not right, blah, blah, blah. Oh. Who cares if somebody doesn't like you? Who cares if someone's opinion differs from yours? Who cares if you guys can't agree on something? Agree to disagree. And that's something else I've had to really learn and understand a little bit more in my journey. Okay, well, that's basically the makeup, you guys. Gosh, I talked so long, but again, I have not filmed in a hot dang dong minute. I just hope that encourages everybody, and just so you kind of know where I came from and why I just wasn't filming, and just a little bit of a life update. So new job, I feel like I'm a new me. Therapy's amazing. And live in your truth. Live in your truth. Well guys, that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate you hanging in there and watching with me, and be looking out for some more content. And before we go, I forgot to mention this too. I do have an Instagram page, BennettBeauty85. Go follow me over there for more beauty content and just like little shorts and clips and stuff like that. So again, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, like this video, and then go follow me on Instagram, BennettBeauty85. Until then, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.